Hi, Mike. How you doing?
Davey, how you doing?
I'm awesome.
Very well, thank you.
now, Nickelback will be in Australia in just under 3 weeks' time to perform 7 shows as part of your No Fixed Address World Tour. Each time Nickelback releases a new album, you guys tour quite heavily all around the world, playing hundreds of shows. Tell us a little bit more about the tour so far.
Well, we actually, in the big picture, we've only just started. We've done Canada and the United States, and now it's there's going to be more United States touring, and you guys in Oz, and also Japan and Europe and South Africa is coming, and Russia is coming, and South America is coming, and so we're really just getting started. Although we did start in February. We started on St. Valentine's Day. It was the first gig, and I guess a lot of touring experiences in our past, sort of 2.5 months would be considered a whole tour, and now it's more perceived as just getting started, just getting the first few strides behind you.
Yeah, okay, that's quite unusual because Australia usually, for most bands, Australia is sort of like usually at the end of the tour. So.
Oh yeah, I suppose it could be. People might place it after Europe or something like that. But there's a wide variety of reasons why tours get laid out in the order they do, and sometimes it's there's so much touring traffic out there right now that you have to be very kind of tactical and strategic about how you do this stuff, because everybody's on to the on the same page that there's no real money in selling music anymore. So the only way for artists to make a living is to go on tour. So everybody's doing it, like everybody. So you want to watch out for the traffic jams, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, what can us Aussies expect from the upcoming shows in the way of stage show, lighting, set lists, and so forth?
It's a pretty big and imposing structure that we build in every arena we go to, and it's a different look for us for sure. I don't know if anybody else has done this sort of staging treatment and kind of it's structure. It's like you got to see it. But it's something we'd never tried before, and I don't know. I've never seen it anybody else do it. So it's an interesting thing to do.
Okay, awesome. Do you think that in the future Nickelback will ever do like a by request set list show such as what Metallica and other bands have made popular in recent times?
I think that is Metallica came up with that first, right? Or the most sort of notable version would be Metallica. I think that is just a killer idea. Yeah. I wish we had thought of it first. Being Metallica being who they are, they come up with a lot of good ideas first. So it's not unreasonable to expect that they would be first with something else smart. I think that is. Something that could be a very, very likely thing to do. Because we want to play the songs that people want to hear. Yeah. So, it's just a natural sort of move to make, to just ask them what they want to hear and then show up and do it. To me, it's a brilliant, really smart move. I love that.
Yeah, no, definitely it's a win-win. So you guys are touring on the back of your new album, which is titled No Fixed Address, which came out in November last year. You've also gone from Roadrunner Records to Republic Records. And whilst there is some really rocking Nickelback tracks on there, there's also some very different tracks for you also. Did going from a mostly metal record label to one that has more in the way of, I guess, popular and commercial artists make the band swing in a different direction with the music, or was that just something the band decided to do themselves?
Yeah, it was, the record label was as surprised as anybody else.
Yeah.
It was completely unrelated. We just wanted to push out the styles a little bit more and see what else we could do, and I think it came off pretty well. Some of it you can stretch out too far and end up sounding like not even yourselves, and we had to bring it back to the center a little bit more a few times just because it would get, a little out there, and we brought it all back, and I think it sounds like different, it sounds like a different style, but it's obviously Nickelback. When you hear Chad's voice, it's like, you don't need to ask who it is. It's pretty obvious. He's got a very distinct voice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, where did you like the idea to come up to do a song like "She Keeps Me Up"? I mean, that just, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the song. It reminds me a little bit of Maroon 5 or something. It's so damn different.
Yeah, it is. You and I can connect on a very real level right here because I'm a huge metal fan. And I'll tell you straight up, like, you actually also connect with my son, he's just about to turn 14 years old.
Oh, wow.
The first time I played him "She Keeps Me Up," he said, and a little background on him, he's a guitar player. His favorite bands are Slipknot. I'm trying to get him into Slayer, and he plays System of a Down. He plays all this music himself on the guitar. So I played him "She Keeps Me Up," and he was like, he said it's a little too pop for my taste, and he's like, who do you guys think you are, Maroon 5? He said that to me, actually, as a matter of fact. It's so funny you should say that, because I don't think it is I don't think it's an unfair or inaccurate comment to make at all. I think it's a very, very a very, very obvious sort of a parallel is there. It was really the purpose of what we went into that song with was we wanted to just we like songs that are they make a groove feel because they're so damn simple. There's just basically there's almost nothing going on, but the stuff that is going on has to hit hard, and that's what funk is really. It's rather simple, straight ahead, straightforward, with an undeniable groove, and that's kind of what we were kind of gunning for, and we like it. I like playing it every night. I like playing I listened to James Brown for probably 5 years straight, in my 20s, and that kind of music has always kind of moved me a little bit. But, when I get right down to it, that's not exactly my brand of whiskey. I don't listen to the radio. I listen to like, Rain in Blood by Slayer is what's currently playing in my car.
That will always be an amazing album. I love it. That is the that's basically the Fleetwood Mac Rumors album of metal. Like, to me, it's the most important metal album ever. Oh, definitely. It's definitely up there. It's up there with Master of Puppets and a few others.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's all. Those are all the deep vintage stuff. That's the just doing things for the first time, like inventing a genre of music.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Like thrash, what Metallica and Exodus and all those other bands were doing was something that didn't even have a name yet. They invented, like, some journalist somewhere invented the term thrash based on what it looked like in their mosh pits. And it's that when you're playing something that doesn't even have a name yet, that's a special time to be in, for sure.
Most definitely. One thing I've noticed as your albums have come along, I mean, I'm a big fan of the band, and I've seen you guys the last 3-4 times you've toured here, is that each album, I don't mean this in a negative way, even though there's a lot of rock and heavy songs on there, the general vibe of the album does seem to get maybe a little bit more mellow. I don't know if that's just me, or do you feel that way as you're getting older? Do you think you're not as heavy? I don't know.
I don't know either. I think it's when we're writing the songs and we're compiling, songs and getting things ready to be recorded, we're not really very we're not genre specific per se. Like, we don't say, oh, well, that's too many, metal songs, or too many rock songs, or that's too many ballad songs, or, we don't really do that kind of accounting. It's more like which songs are the strongest songs, and, regardless, like, what are the strongest Nickelback songs regardless of sort of style or inclination, and that's how we make our cuts or our eliminations, is just what's the strongest material that we have. And sometimes that stuff is the acoustic guitar, piano, more melodic, softer stuff, and sometimes it's not, but when you're doing what we do, and I don't know if you play in a band, but when you're doing a record, you just want to make sure that you're, regardless of how you're saying it, that you're saying it in the strongest way possible.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's awesome. Which brings me to our next topic, which I'm sure every interview asks you. I mean, whilst the band has millions of fans worldwide, it also has a massive following of haters. Why do you think so many people have singled out Nickelback? And does all this hatred faze the band in general, or yourself personally?
Well, I mean, I found that I would say in the beginning it probably hurt our feelings more out of surprise than anything else, because, frankly, like, I can tell you straight up, like, we don't really care what people think or say or whatever,
Yeah. You're selling out arenas worldwide, so I guess who cares at the end of the day?
Well, yeah, that brings me around to sort of my next thoughts on this phenomenon, which is, I think somebody's full of shit, because there's just no way that you have 30 odd number one songs, 50 million albums sold, somebody's lying.
Yeah.
And I would really like to know how many of those keyboard commando haters have our songs, on their workout playlist or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I really doubt that, everybody who's ladling on the hate is actually a hater. I think it's just kind of turned into its own sort of phenomenon where it's not even about us anymore. It's like a paradigm,
Yeah. It's like cool. It's cool. It's cool to hate Nickelback. Whether you heard them or not, it's just cool to jump on the Nickelback hate train.
Sure, and what's even cooler is saying the same thing that everybody else says, because no one wants to be challenged, right? As long as you're saying everything that everybody else is saying exactly, and don't step out of line, then you'll be really risk-free and your life will be easy. So, but people, there is, people have a herd mentality. We just do. We do. And I say we because I consider myself, just as much a part of, all these sorts of things as anybody else. Yeah.
So, Nickelback started around 20 years ago, 1995, I've seen, in Canada. That's a pretty long time for a band in this day and age that still has 3 original members. What are the immediate future plans for the band? I mean, we did obviously mention about doing by request shows before. Any chance of doing anniversary tours for certain albums and playing whole albums in full? I mean, this year's the 10th anniversary for All the Right Reasons. I would personally love to hear that album in full live.
Oh, wow. That would be so cool. Again, I think this is a Metallica move, right? Like, they kind of pioneered this idea too when they went and just played Master of Puppets on one tour, and they've done it with Ride the Lightning also. And I think that's another great idea. I really do, and I think I would be happy to do that. I think it would be so cool, and to do All the Right Reasons would probably be the most natural choice, just as it was the most successful album we've ever put out. There's more of those, there's more All the Right Reasons albums out there than there are any other Nickelback albums. So that would be a natural choice, just to go out and just play, cover to cover, play All the Right Reasons. That would be very interesting to do. I've thought about it sort of notionally, but I've never really sat down and looked at the track list. And I mean, we're already playing close to half that album as it is.
I like that.
Because there's so many of them that did so well, and so many of them that the people want to hear. We're playing a lot of it, but I would like to go down that track list, and after I'm done this interview, I'm probably going to, and just see, how feasible it would be. And I'm sure it would be no trouble at all for us to do.
Yeah, no, that would be bloody amazing. I mean, apart from Metallica, there's obviously been a lot of other heavy bands that have done that. I know Machine Head did it. Slayer have done it. So yeah, that would be a very cool idea, and I'd love to see you guys do like a full heavy set of something. Maybe.
Excuse me, Davey.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Davey. This is Trudy. You just need to wrap up the interview now. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, Davey, going with what you were just saying about like just going out and just playing the rock tunes, we've actually talked about that. We've also talked about just doing a record of only rock too.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool to do.
Yeah.
That just pick one thing and just do it. And I think that would be really cool. Those are great ideas to keep things fresh too. Yeah,
and especially considering a lot of you come from a background where you all like heavy metal, so that would be really cool. But we've got to wrap up the interview there, Mike. Thank you so much for talking with us today. I'm really excited for the shows coming up in 3 weeks, and I'll be there in Brisbane watching you, and
All right, you're in Brisbane. Great. Well, I can't wait to get back up there, man. I love it up there in Brisbane.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mike. I'll see you when you get to Australia.
Thank you, sir. Talk to you later.
Cheers, mate. Bye.